I've spent a lot of time in Hungary, so I've had the opportunity to experience the popular and touristy places and activities in Budapest, as well as explore the smaller towns, villages, and the countryside. Whether I'm at home or traveling, I love walking as much as possible, and in this video I'm sharing with you some of the photos and videos I've taken during my long walks here. As you can tell, I have a particular affinity to flowers and plants. While I was capturing these images and editing this video, I found myself pondering the divisive question, does taking photos ruin the moment? When I was 16, I had the opportunity to travel to New York City for 1 week with my marketing and entrepreneurship class. I was prepared to take hundreds of photos during this trip to document my travels in an attempt to immortalize the experience for myself. But on the second day, my old camera stopped working. I was one of those weird kids who didn't have a cell phone in high school, so that wasn't an option, and it wasn't in my travel budget to buy a new camera. At first, I was devastated and so frustrated. My teenage self was convinced that the trip was ruined. And then, as the day went on, I realized that not only was I in a group with a dozen other people who were all taking photos, but also that I could use this as an opportunity to be fully present in the moment and immerse myself in the city and the experience without the distraction of having to worry about taking photos. It actually ended up being incredibly freeing, and even though I wasn't thinking about it in terms of mindfulness at the time, it was a wonderfully meditative experience. Naturally, as a filmmaker, my relationship with photography and videography is quite complex, and I approach the use of these tools differently in my personal life versus when I'm making a film or video, although sometimes the two do overlap. The debate on whether taking photos and videos stops us from being present in the moment and how it affects our memory is ongoing, and there are an increasing number of studies and articles on the topic that you can read. I've done quite a bit of research, and the two main concerns seem to be camera or smartphone use that either distracts us from an experience, or when they are overused as memory aids to the extent that we don't use our brains to try and remember something that we know we captured externally. It's tough to know what the optimal balance of mental memory and tech-aided memory should be, whether that's using a smartphone, camera, or other technology. If we want to hold on to certain memories, it takes some mental effort. Sensory memory is intricately linked to long-term memory, which is why, if you pay attention to your five senses and notice what the air feels like, what the streets smell like, what the food tastes like, you will be able to recall it years later. Whenever appropriate, I love using my hands to touch the walls of a building or feel the texture of a plant. I do feel that photography can have a meditative effect as well, especially when I'm alone. Cameras definitely narrow and focus our attention. When trying to strike that balance, I like to think about using my camera to enhance my experience but not limit it. I like to use my camera mindfully to focus on the details I truly want to capture and remember, then put it down to pay attention to my other senses. Whether I have my camera with me or not, I always try to take a moment to really ground myself in an experience with all my five senses, because photos and recordings only ever capture a small slice of what I felt or experienced. These thoughts that I shared with you today are by no means exhaustive, but I hope that you are able to find some value in my somewhat nuanced perspective on the topic. Or, if you're just here for the flowers and calming piano music, that's wonderful as well.